After the stain dried pretty thoroughly, I did add a coat of oil-based polyurethane to them. Gives them a little bit of a shine, and it also adds another layer in there, coat of protection. I'm going to put keyholes in the back. What I normally do is I measure the width of this, and measure the width of this, mark it, and that's where I will begin the keyhole plunge here and here. Now the nice thing is this rides against this, so it'll be straight, and I go from this point to this point, and they'll be the identical lengths. Here's the issue I've run into today. Every piece of wood I've cut keyholes into were bigger than this. This is smaller. So what I'm going to have to do is inwards, it will be not here, but it'll be where the jig and the router put it. So what I'm going to have to do is two things. I'm going to have to secure the jig, which is easy. I'll just use a clamp and clamp it down. Then I have to secure the wood. What I think I'm going to do is over on the far side, I'll put a block of wood to protect this wood, and then I'll put a clamp here. That should hold the workpiece itself and the jig, so that I can cut both keyholes identical, and they'll work, and your board will be hung up straight and not cattywampus. So I'm going to get a couple of clamps and see if we can't clamp this down. I've clamped down my keyhole jig, and I put it on an angle because I don't have a clamp that would come into here. The throat's just not that big on them. Now, I do want this portion to be the top. So I make sure I put this into the jig such as that. Now I'm making sure my workpiece is against this leg of the jig and this leg of the jig. I got to push down, I got to push over. And I'll put my W or my M, depends how you want to look at it, down here to protect the workpiece from the clamping. So that should hold it down. And I don't plug in my router until I'm ready to use it. That's why you don't. I have set the depth. Let's say we're in the neighborhood of a 1/4 inch deep that we're going to be cutting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do this side first, and then I'll take this little jigsaw over to the other side and cut this side. What I'll do is I'll set the router onto here, making sure I have this against this piece of wood and this against this piece of wood. I'll plunge full depth. I'll move forward until this hits this. I'll stop. I'll shut the router off. Once the router's off, I'll pull it back and then let go of the plunge. So. That makes a really nice keyhole. That's the final result. I can't tell you how long that is. It's a guesstimate. When I move the jig over to the other side, then repeat. Now I'm not going to turn my workpiece over because I want to make sure I'm cutting it in the same spot. It is important that I have the workpiece. Important to have my jig on the table and the workpiece down. I'm not worried about that right now. I'm just worried about this part. Okay. Now, just for kicks and giggles. Yep, I do have it the same. You know, I could never really find, and it's probably there, I just haven't found it. I've never found a good video about cutting keyholes. Now, I have this messed up on this side. There. That's better. Let's see a little bit of thread. Two keyholes. This is the second one. One. Okay. And here goes the second one. So since this is for Lindsay at work, she doesn't need many hooks. With 3 hooks, so it's 18 5/8, so 9 5/16. That'll be hook number 1. And then between the two we have 9 3/8, so 1 2 3 4, go 5 3/8. 1 2 3 4 5 3/8. That's where her hooks are going to be. So I put so I come from the bottom. Two 3/4. The bottom. 2 3/4. That doesn't look right. I'm going to strike the line and yeah, that does look right now. Okay, so we got both of these laid out. 6. Going to have to drill 9 holes. And I'm going to be putting shaker hooks into these. This is what my shaker pegs look like if you didn't know. You got a shoulder here. This will be sunk in. I think this is a 1/2 inch diameter. Yeah, it's a smidge under. And it's about 1/2 inch-ish deep. Maybe 9/16. So I chose this bit. I lined it up with the diameter of this shouldered part. And my wood's only about 3/4 inch thick. This is about 1/8 inch short of that. So what I'm doing is I'm going to be coming up short on my hole depth. And in order to make this fit all the way to the shoulder, I'm going to cut some of this off. So I want to cut these holes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the 6 spots that I laid out. So that's the first one. Now we'll do this little 3-holed one. So they're both coat hangers are holed. I pounded a peg into one of the boards and I discovered, measuring with a caliper, it's about 200 thousandths I need to take off. So what I've chosen to do was use this vise to hold the part and cut it. I've got 3 different colors. I'm not really sure what color I want. What I do not want is I do not want to hide the grain. I want to be able to see the grain on this. This board, similar in color, it's pine. It was for another project. It was extra from another project. So that's what we're going to go ahead and figure out. I'm going to take a sploth over each one of these of each one of these and put onto this. This will be side, middle, and side, side, middle, and side. And just see what it looks like. Ooh, that looks really dark. There's not. So here we go. The left side. Now I do not want it, no matter which color I choose, I do not want it dark. I do not want to hide the grain. This and this seem to be, or excuse me, this and this seem to be pretty similar. Well, there's the three colors. This one, and this one, so I don't mess them up. There's none that I really don't like. I kind of like them all. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with this color. So this and this. So this is the color we chose. And I will apply this with a brush. That is the finished product. After the stain dried pretty thoroughly, I did add a coat of oil-based polyurethane to them. Gives them a little bit of a shine, and it also adds another layer in there, coat of protection. I think they turned out beautifully. I really like them. I hope they like them as well.